Breaking news here, according to Shams Charania, and the NBA has since announced it as well. Luka Doncic and Cade Cunningham will get their awards. The NBA and Players Union ruled in favor of the Lakers' Luka Doncic and the Pistons' Cade Cunningham on their challenge to the rule that players must play 65 games in order to qualify for postseason awards. Both fell one game short. This ruling means they are now eligible. Remember, Doncic missed 2 games in December because of the birth of his child abroad, and then Cunningham had a collapsed lung, which caused him to miss some time as well. Kenny the Jet Smith is back here with us. Kenny, what's your reaction to this?
Well, I think it's great that the great players get to be eligible for great awards. So at any point of that, I think there's always a positive to it. I do think that there is a threshold, and that 65-game number is, I think, a realistic threshold. I think that in these circumstances, you should be able to appeal. And these guys, one, not only were appealed it, but they actually will be part of the actual award ceremony. So there are people who can appeal the awards that would not be part of it. So yes, I do think that these extreme circumstances, a collapsed lung and things of that nature, you should be able to appeal if you're 1 to 2 games within the threshold. But if you drop down to 55 games, I don't think 55 games, no matter how great you play, you haven't made an impact on the season as someone else has.
Well, what happened if somebody breaks his leg with, I played 63 games? You're going to let him win the MVP award too? I mean,
if you make an impact on the season, you could appeal that. That's what I would say. You could appeal if you're in that threshold of 1 or 2 games. But if you drop down to 55 games, your impact on your team is not strong enough. But in 65 games, Cade Cunningham and Luka Doncic, their impact on their team and where they are in position is directly related to what their performances are.
I wouldn't put any games on it then. I mean, because, I thought...
Eliminate the rule.
Let's eliminate it. I mean, Bill Walton won an MVP one year and he played 59 games. Just eliminate it and don't put it in there. I know they're doing that to make you play the 65, but these two didn't, and they still are going to be eligible to win the award. So they should just eliminate the 65-game thing. That would be my argument there. Stevie?
Follow the money, number one. I mean, if you got the rule in place because obviously it was it came across as a dereliction of duty on the part of teams and on the part of some of the players, and they needed to do something to make the case that this is something that can't be tolerated, where these guys are missing an inordinate amount of games. So I agree with Kenny. 65 games is obviously a good threshold. If you just come a couple of games shy of that, obviously that's not intentional. You know what? But if you only playing 50, 55 games or less, hell no, you don't need to be eligible for an award. I like this because I like the fact that the NBA took into consideration these are legitimate injuries. This ain't load management or anything like that. A collapsed lung, Luka Doncic situation with the hamstring and stuff like that. Stuff happens. And when you take those into consideration and you have an appeals process in place where you're looking to look at things on a case-by-case basis, I think that's something that's more fair-minded, and it's something that the players can ill afford to refute. Nobody can complain about that when there's an appeal process in place and you're taking into account the severity of an injury that forced you to miss games, as opposed to you just missing because you needed a rest day or whatever the case may be. No, we're not going for that anymore. And that's what the league addressed, and I'm good with that. So I like the fact that Cade and Luka are both eligible because we know there's legitimate injuries as to why they missed games, not just rest.
And it's interesting, Stephen, how we've come full circle, because we started talking about the San Antonio Spurs, Western Wembanyama, and this whole rule is because of the San Antonio Spurs when they started resting
That's right.
Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. Right. And here we are again talking about a rule that basically these guys have implemented, and the reason why there is load management and thought of that.
Right. All time. I know the producer's telling me to be quick. Listen, this is very, very important because what Kenny brought up is very, very important. This is how bad the San Antonio Spurs were. They had a game in Orlando years ago. The next night, it was a nationally televised game when Commissioner David Stern was the commissioner, God rest his soul. And Greg Popovich didn't play Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, or Tony Parker. How did we find out they weren't playing, Shay? Doggy. They were at a Chick-fil-A inside the airport in Orlando,
Right.
waiting to board a Southwest flight back to San Antonio. It was a TNT game, Kenny. Y'all had the game, and it was Miami going up against San Antonio, and we all was waiting for the game, and we found out that Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker wouldn't be playing because Greg Popovich was ticked off to David Stern and them for a back-to-back, so he sent them home on Southwest Airlines.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff Greg Popovich used to do.
Oh, the great Greg Popovich. All right, Kenny, thanks for joining us. More first.
What the Spurs did on Sunday night against Denver was an absolute disgrace. If they play Wembanyama, who didn't play, and they beat the Nuggets, which I think they would have beaten them if he did play, they would have avoided Denver for the postseason. Instead, they didn't play Wembanyama because he had played the 65th game. They counted that Challenge Cup final. So they didn't play him in the game. And so what happens is the Spurs, if they beat Portland, they're wrapped up with Denver in the second round. If they had beaten Denver at home last Sunday night, last game of the year, NBC at 8:30, the Nuggets dropped to the 4-5, and they play the winner of Lakers-Rockets down there. So now they are forced to play Jokic when he beats the Timberwolves. They won 14 in a row. They won a championship a few years ago. He's the best player in the league, and not even an issue. And you suddenly got Murray. You had a chance to knock them out of there, not to have to worry about them in round 2 of the postseason. Now, if you're the Spurs, because you decide to give Wembanyama the day off when he has a week off before the playoffs begin, now you're going to have to beat the Nuggets and the Thunder back-to-back to get to a final. That was mind-boggling to me. You got a chance to knock Denver out of the 3-hole, and you don't got to play them in round 2, and you let Wembanyama sit at 22 years of age? That is asinine. Look at the playoff structure. Say to yourself, would I rather play Denver or the banged-up Lakers in round 2? You'd rather play the Lakers if they get by Houston. Mind-bogglingly stupid by the Spur organization. That is number 2. What are you laughing for, Shay?
You're right. You're right. You're just so psychotic, but you're right. You're right. Go ahead, Stephen A.
I don't view it that way. I don't view it that way. First of all, Wemby had an injury. The not playing him bought an additional 7 to 8 days for him to heal up for the playoffs. That's number 1. And number 2, I can't believe the hypocrisy of Mad Dog Russo. This is not a good day for him. San Antonio Spurs have the attitude. We know who the hell we are. We took out the reigning defending NBA champion in 4 to 5 meetings. We beat them. And we'll take out Denver too. We don't give a damn. We don't care who we're going up against. As long as we're healthy and ready to go, we don't give a damn about who might be waiting for us in round 2 or round 3. We'll take them. Doggy, the doggy that I once knew and loved, the doggy that I once revered, would love this stuff. He would be like, hey, way to be courageous. You know, you confident in who you are. We don't give a damn. Let's go. But instead, you're maligning them for it now. You have changed. You have gotten softer. I don't know what the hell is wrong with you today, but it is what it is.
Game 6 in Denver when they're down 3-2. You tell me in the second round if you want to place Jokic.
They ain't going to be down 3-2. They ain't going to be down 3-2.
All right, number 3. Number three. Listen, this is ridiculous of what the NBA did. And I know they did it for the money. They got a fortune. They blew off all their local carriers who carry all these regular season games. You know, the first 7 games of the NBA postseason are on Prime Video. First 7. All 4 play in. The Nick Hawk on Saturday at 6 o'clock is on Prime Video. You don't get a game on over the air until 8:30 Saturday night with the Lakers and the Rockets. Think about that for a second. You got to find where these games are on Prime Video. That is number 1. And how about if you were a Portland and a Phoenix fan on 2 nights ago when that game went in overtime and you panic, not knowing, hold on now, I don't have my local team doing the Trailblazers Suns. I got to go find it. You got to go fool around with your remote. You got to go back to where you started with your menu and find out and click the Trailblazers and Suns. And if you want to watch Trout and the Yankees, you can't do that because you got the Hornet game on. So as a result of that, you got to go figure out how to get to the Yankee-Angel game. And then, over his freaking cookies and milk before he hits the sack. Adam Silver's got to see technical difficulties in the fourth quarter. Technical difficulties. The last time we had technical difficulties in a huge game, you got to go back to 1958 when the Giants and Colts played the championship game at Yankee Stadium, and somebody pulled the plug on the field, and it cost 70 million people a heartache because they didn't know if they were going to finish that great game in overtime, and the Colts beat the Giants 23-17 and Amici. We had technical difficulties. That's the first time I have ever seen that, and I've been watching sports for 60 years, that I have seen that in a playoff game where I got to make sure it's 15 seconds to go. I almost didn't see the finish of the Charlotte game. Why? Because we had to run the Prime Video, just like baseball had to run the Netflix, just like the NFL had to run the Netflix on Christmas Day. Why in the world, the first 8 games or 7 games of the postseason, why are they on Prime Video? You got to be kidding me. And then, of course, if you're Portland Phoenix, you got to scramble to find your game. You got to screw around with your remote, and you kill MSG. How about MSG? And Breen said this the other night. Good for him. 80 games they do in the regular season in the NBA, and they usually do the first round of the playoffs. First year, no first round for local television. So they're there all year for 6 months covering Knicks Kings in January, and then the first round of the playoffs, we don't get Clyde Frazier in New York. What a joke! Number 3.
Really quickly, I agree with you. I hear what you're saying. Last night, first of all, I was watching that Heat Hornets game when that happened. And then last night, you know what? It was technical difficulties in my hotel room while I was watching the game with the Clippers and the Warriors. And I had to grab my phone real quick to see it on my phone in real time because the Prime on TV went kaput. But here's the bad news, doggy. Despite how right you are, 170 million people watched regular season games this year. It's an 86% jump in the NBA from last year. That is the reality of the situation. The NBA is flowing right now. So I get that you're complaining about it, but they'll make the argument it's working for them.
Doggy, I don't agree with you. The technical difficulties almost put me in a heart attack. Hey, Stephen A., really quick, one thing to be mad about. Look at how Dog takes his notes. This is a napkin, and it just says Boston, Philly over and over. This is how this dude takes his notes on this pathetic napkin. This is what you should be mad about, that there's no paper for you in the green.
He talks while he's writing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he talks while he's writing. Thinks it makes him smarter.
After the break, very significant breaking news out of the NBA regarding Luka Doncic.